Welcome to our canning class for beginners. I'm a beginner too, so let's learn some things together. This class is supported by the City of District Heights, the District Heights Family and Youth Services Bureau, and the Department of Family Services. The canning class for beginners is a part of the Youth Services Bureau's nutrition, gardening, and budgeting program that we call Nuts and Cuts. I'm Dr. Beverly Sargent, Pastoral Child and Family Therapist. This class is meant to inspire your family to grow your own foods, which we sponsor a community garden along with Capital Markets just to help you do that. To eat healthy, we have free nutrition classes facilitated by the University of Maryland to help you and your family do that, and to save money. We host budgeting courses facilitated by the Career Community Center to help you do that as well. You might wonder why a child and family therapist would be a part of a nutrition program. Well, there is a relationship between healthy eating, healthy living, and healthy thinking. Growing your own vegetables and preserving your harvest is a great way to keep healthy foods in your home and depend less on grocery stores. Please send us an email at ysb@districtheights.org to learn more about our programming. If you live in the zip codes we have at the bottom of the screen, we really need to hear from you. If you live in any one of these zip codes, watch our entire video and complete our questionnaire and evaluation, you'll receive a small token of our appreciation. The incentives end May 31st, 2022. So let's get started. Preserved or canned foods can last up to 12 months, making your dollars, your hard work, and your healthy garden harvest last a long, long time. The savings can be huge. Spend $3 on a packet of seeds, and instead of enjoying your harvest for one season or one meal, you can enjoy it year-round. And canned foods make great gifts. When my parents went to the grocery store, most of the time it was not to buy vegetables. As a child, my family farmed, we harvested vegetables, and my mother taught us to preserve those vegetables. I learned how to blanch and freeze foods from my mom. I learned how to can from my local 4-H club. But I am definitely still a beginner. So let's go through some of the supplies that you'll be using to can your food. One of the major items you're going to need is a large pot. Now this pot I ordered from online and it cost about $70. And you don't have to order a special pot to do a hot water bath. The recipe that we're going to do today in class is a hot water bath. So really any pot you have that's large enough to cover your the size of your containers is going to be fine. Now, one of the reasons that I love or that I ordered this pot is that it comes with this basket. And I want to show you what this does. It actually hooks on the side of the pot, and the water is hot when you start using this pot. And your jars, once they're filled with your harvest, you'll line them in your container, and then of course they'll be heavy, so I can't put this one. If I put this one in, it'll just float. But you put them all around your grape. You can see this bottom part. So you'll take it off the edges and you'll slowly put it into the water, and then you can let these edges go and you're set. So I decided I wanted to go ahead and just purchase one of these, but again, it is not necessary. The other supplies I want to show you are these items. I also ordered these online. This one, you use it to grab the jar, to grab hot jars out of the pot. And I'll show you how this works. And then you can lift the jar with it. You lift it right out of the water. The tongs are helpful because most of the recipes that I looked at, and the ones that we'll use in class, include heating up the jars before you put your harvest inside the jar. So when this jar is in hot water, you want to take it out. Now you could use this tool, but the tongs just seem to be more helpful, because you're going to actually take this jar out of your water, and you want to empty the water and then put it back down on the counter. And that you use that, you'll need that to get ready to put your items inside. The funnel is important because it helps prevent waste, because you'll actually take a ladle and you'll ladle your food into the jar. So this is helpful. Now, one other item, this jar in and of itself, of course that's important, but I want to show you the lid. So this lid, when you buy these jars, it comes with, there's like a mountain, I call it a mountain or a hill in the middle of the lid. I mentioned the mountain in the middle of the lid. So this is some strawberry jam that I made a few days ago, and if you notice, there's a concave area right in the middle, and that's where this product popped. So once you see that concave area, you know that the process worked really good. I do have to add this one caveat. I had a couple of products where it didn't pop, and you don't actually see this concave circle in the middle. But when you press it, there's no give. So as long as there's no give, your product worked just fine. If you notice, these knives do not have sharp edges. You can't cut yourself with these. They're designed for children to use, and I really like them. I use them also. And they have quite a few options for children to use while they're helping you in the kitchen. So I really like that. Finally, two things. One, you want to have a marker, so as soon as you're done with your canning, you want to put the date on the top of the jar, so you know when you completed this process. And again, you can these, once you can it, it's going to last for about a year. And finally, I love to get a beginner's cookbook. It's a beginner's guide. So this is just the one that I chose, but there are hundreds of options out there that you can use. But this one's really good. Today we're going to make cucumbers. So being a beginner, I don't know exactly how many cucumbers. Actually, we're not going to make cucumbers, we're going to make pickles. So since I'm new at this whole thing, I don't know how many cucumbers I need to fill this. Just kind of think of it like you have planted cucumbers in your garden, and you have all this huge harvest. You want to make pickles, but you don't know how many are going to go in here. So I'm just going to give you what I do. Okay, so you definitely have to first cut the edges off. So you're going to cut it into spears. When you cut them into spears, it just makes them easier to eat, I think. All right, and then you cut again. And I will be very transparent in telling you that I want my product to be pretty, because even though they taste really good, they're sitting on your shelf for up to 12 months, and you want to have something pretty to look at. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. So now I'm just gonna put it in the jar to see what it looks like. So these are too long, so I need to cut them so that they'll fit. So I'm gonna just guess. Let's see. You want to make sure you have at least a ½ inch between the top of your product and the top of the jar. So I'm gonna cut it a little bit more. Let me try that. Oh my gosh, that is so good. All right, I'm gonna do that. So that's perfect, actually. I hope you can see that. Oh my gosh, I just need some salt and I really have a nice snack. One of the problems with preserving food, actually cooking anything, is eating. If you're not careful, you will have eaten up everything you're trying to preserve, because that tastes good. All right, so now let's see. And I'm gonna, so that one's still a little too long. Now, you know, if you love pickles, well, let's say, like if you love pickles on your hamburger, you can use this too. And I'm not gonna, well, actually that might be kind of pretty. Let's just do some for decoration. I think I'm cutting them too big, but I can, I'm a beginner, so I can do it. You know, you just test it. All right, so that's still too big, too tall. So I'm gonna put these over here, and you know what? Let's just cut them down. Oh, let's see. All right, that's good. We're gonna pour brine in this, and so the brine is going to make them rise to the top too. And we're gonna put some dill in here. And for this dill, I'm gonna just chop it and see. You know, the more you do it, the better you become at it. And don't even worry about what it looks like. Just put it in there, because you really want it to taste good. That's the big issue. All right, so I'm gonna cut the rest of these. Actually, it might be a little easier if I go ahead and cut them down. And I'm gonna keep these a little bit larger. Make sure you do the edges, the tips. And then you fit it in here. Let's see what this looks like. That's a little tall. I want that to stay. Let's see. There's no such thing as perfection. You just want it to taste good, and you want it to be pretty. And it only needs to be pretty to you. It doesn't need to be pretty to anybody else. So we're gonna stuff these in here. You can stuff them tight. I think it's a good idea to try to stuff it tight. And these little pieces, just put them in the middle. Because remember, you're gonna make a brine. That is pretty. You know what? I think I'm gonna grab some garlic cloves and put some garlic in there. Oh, that's a little big. So that's good. I like it. Oh, let me tell you. So my jar is warm. When you pour your brine in, or any sort of whatever your product is that you're making, you want to put it into warm jars, because you're going to transfer this jar into hot water. And so you don't want too much of a temperature change. Okay, I think we're set. I think that's pretty. I'm just going to grab some garlic and put that in there, and then we'll have green and we'll have white. I think I'm going to put a little more dill, because I like these leaves. This is pretty. You don't have to put as much dill in there if you don't want to. If you don't like garlic, you don't have to put it in there at all. Now, I like the way this looks, so I'm gonna keep it. If you don't like the way yours look, you can dump this out and try again, okay? All right, so this is the main part, and we'll go to part 2 in just a few minutes. So now we're about to make the brine for the cucumbers. So what the recipe, and we'll put this on the screen as well, it is 3 cups of water to 1 cup of white vinegar, and then this pickling mix. And now I bought the bread and butter pickling mix from the grocery store. And this is really your salt. And most of you probably know vinegar is kind of salty too. And I suggest that you taste it once you put it all together before you put it in here, just because we're all beginners, so you have some idea of what it's going to taste like. I think that's pretty interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer all of this to the pot. It doesn't matter what you put in first. Some people say do things in order of the recipe, and I just put it in here. Unless the recipe specifically says add your ingredients a particular way. In this one, it doesn't matter. All right, so this is the pickling salt, and I love the fact too that it has some herbs in here. I'm gonna transfer this to the stove, and we're gonna cook this until all of the salt, I don't know if you can see that, until all of the salt has dissolved and it boils. It really needs to come to a boil. So this is boiling brine. Needless to say, an adult needs to do this part. And remember, your jar is warm, and you're just going to scoop out the brine and pour it in, using your funnel, pour it into your jar. Look at that. Oh, what a beautiful thing. And I want to make sure that I get some of these, seasonings and things. The seasonings are different colors also. And so that just adds to the whole beauty of the mixture. And remember, we want to leave a ½ inch between the top edge of the water and the top edge of this bottle. Okay, I think we've done that. Oh wow, look at that. That is beautiful. Okay, before we put the lid on, and I forgot to tell you, we need to take a little bit of vinegar. So I'm gonna pour the vinegar in this little bowl so you can see it. It doesn't take much at all. You're gonna take a little bit of vinegar, take your clean dish towel and dip it in the vinegar, and use that to clean the rim of your jar. You just want to make sure that there aren't any food or juice particles, because the seal is what keeps all of the germs out. And you really need a great seal. So I don't know that I pointed out this tool early on, and I'll show you what this does, because remember the top of the jar that I showed you earlier? You're going to use this seal to pick it up from the hot water, because remember we had this in boiling hot water, and you put that on top, and then you're going to take this ring. And remember, I was saying it's just finger tight. You don't want to do it really tight. And although I'm going to put it in a hot water bath, I'm still going to wipe it off. So you pick this up, pick it up from the rim. Again, an adult should probably do this. But oh my gosh, look how pretty that is. So now I'm going to put it in the hot water bath. One thing to keep in mind is this deep pot is made for 7 or 8 jars. So if you only put one jar in there, you have to be really careful because it will tip over. So what I've done in the past is put it on the side and then just be as gingerly as I can in putting this down and hope that it stays up. But even if it doesn't stay up, it's okay. You can fix it. And then you put this down, And see those handles? Those handles will keep it in that position. And you want to make sure you have at least an inch between the top of the jar and the top level of your water. And we have at least an inch there. Now it's going to stay in this hot water bath until it boils. When it boils, we're going to let it boil for about 25 minutes. Turn the heat off and let it sit in the water for another 10 minutes, and then you can take it out. The measurements on this pot help you determine how long your product should boil. So one thing that's important about hot water baths, you want to know what the sea level is in reference to where you live. Here in Maryland, now I'm a beginner, I don't have the particulars. All I know is in reference to Maryland, you don't have to add any time to your boil because of our sea level. So just do that checking. Because of the magic of video, I can show you a finished product. These are our pickles. And remember the conversation about the concave part in the top? This one popped. It's concave, so we know beyond the shadow of a doubt that this is a great product. But let's just say it doesn't pop and you're not quite sure. Just put it in the refrigerator, eat it within the next 3 to 4 days, and you're fine. But because this one popped and is concave, I know it's all great. And so this will last on the cupboard, in our cupboards or in our pantry for at least 12 months, if not more. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's class. Again, send us an email at ysb@districtheights.org. And if you live in any of the zip codes at the bottom of the screen, let us know that. Send the email, let us know the zip code you live in, we'll send you a questionnaire and an evaluation. Once you turn that in to us, we'll send you an incentive, probably a gift card. Thank you for watching.